Thank you so much, Derin, for coming and being present today. So let's just get right into it. So I have a couple of questions for you. I would ask you, and just 5 questions. Then we move to the rapid. So this is more or less like long structured questions, but we have a couple of fire questions where you just give very short answers, and then we'll open up the floor for questions and answers. So my very first question: are you guys ready? Okay, so let's have a great conversation. So, Derin, my very first question is: can you talk us through the landscape that existed in your field before you started your business, and what you hoped to change when you started Fabling by Derin?
Okay, so when I started Fabling by Derin, I would say that I was one of the first young designers. At that time, we had the likes of Larry Da Silva, Tiffany Amber, Diola Sego, and we had a bunch of those designers that we looked up to, but there was really no young person in the business at the time. And I mean, whilst I looked up to all those people, I wanted to create something for the younger generation, the people of my spec, like people that I could relate with and people that could relate with me. Basically, what I wouldn't say what I hope to change, but what I wanted to enhance and introduce was just a community for younger people where they could easily reach out to they could easily relate with a younger designer like them and have access to creating pieces that they can love. I hope that is clear.
That is actually very clear. Fantastic. So the second question would be: what were the challenges that you faced when you started?
Okay, so I would be very honest and say that I went into fashion design very blindly. The only thing that I knew at the time was that I loved to create, I enjoyed designing, and I would say designing found me, basically. So when it turned into a business, I didn't even know what a business was. I made my first couple millions in somebody else's account. I didn't even have a business account then. But I would just say, as a fashion designer, with the knowledge I have now, most of the challenges I faced were staffing. Okay, you know what? Let me just take it easy and start from the beginning. Yes, so when you're a creative, yeah, you have your idea, you know what you want, and you know what you want to create. But as you start to grow, you know that you also cannot do it by yourself. So there's the importance of introducing people. And now, whilst that is important, it could also be a challenge, because for one, sometimes we feel like we want to do everything on our own. And then also, when you now introduce somebody, you need to teach the person to understand your work and to understand your hands and your skill. So I would say staffing was a very major issue for me, in the sense that just translating some of my designs into the local tailors and stuff, because at some point, in fact, from the very onset, I could not carry all of the designs by myself. I couldn't produce by myself. I needed to introduce. So I would say staffing. Then the major challenge we have in Nigeria, which is now being curbed, is fabric sourcing. You know how we all have an idea in our head, and sometimes without knowledge, we go and use the wrong fabric to produce, and then it doesn't come out as we have envisioned it and all of that. So as a young designer that didn't have much knowledge, because I didn't go to fashion school in the beginning, I would have made a few of those mistakes, but I learned from that. And then there was also the issue of the regular issue in Nigeria, which included generator, production and all of that. And then at the end of the day, when you are able to produce a garment with the cost of production, inclusive of buying your petrol now, I mean, it was, so when people say things are hard, it's always been hard because I remember back then as well, like petrol was always a problem. There was fuel scarcity. I remember sleeping in filling stations, trying to make sure that I bought petrol to create, to be able to finish my projects. Yeah, so like by the time you're done with all of that, and then you now you now cost your product, and then customers are saying, oh, you're too expensive and all of that. There was also the fear of, oh my God, will people sell? Will people buy? You know, you've produced this really, really nice outfit, and then you're afraid to price it to the point where you want to. I mean, growing up now, I know better, but then there was that challenge then of, oh, I want to be affordable. I want to stay affordable. I want people, and then you now undermine yourself and not put a lot of your profit and all of that in place. So those were the major challenges I faced. I don't know if I would talk about growth because, I mean, that was back then. I would really love to talk about growth and things that have been done. Okay, so one of the things that I would say is very important as a fashion business is to ensure that you have structure in your business. I'm very big on delegating. I'm very big on not burning out because I am a creative. I create, like my head, my mind, everything comes from here. And if there is a burnout in here, I wouldn't be able to produce. And if I cannot produce, I cannot do anything. I cannot be who I am, who I say I am. So I'm very big on delegating. And for delegation, it means that you need to have proper structure, because when you have structure in place, you can operate from any part of the world. Like once you know that, okay, I have from my production manager to my tailors and to my customer care, all of that are put in place. They know exactly what you're supposed to do. They have their job descriptions, they have their sanction forms, they know exactly if they do this, if they make this error, if this happens, there is a fine. So like putting that structure in place to ensure that your organization can run without you is something that anyone that is starting a fashion business now should actually put in place. Is very, very important because I know that there's a question I'm going to touch on, but I really would want to touch on creative burnout and like not having your mind in place because you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 things all at the same time. Don't be afraid to release yourself. Don't be afraid to take on, okay, I am a creative and I am a creative. My job here is to design. I don't need to be the tailor. I don't need to be the one to speak to the customers. I don't need to be the one to fit the customers. I don't need to be the one to go to the market. So like you identify your strength as a creative, you identify what you cannot do. If you can do all of them, by all means. But I don't think we're machines. There's no way one person can do everything, all the processes that is involved in being a creative designer. So like I would always say, as you grow and as you can afford it, please employ these people that are out there to help you. Yeah.
So I want to ask, you touched a lot on business structure. So how would you advise most brands here, because people are starting by themselves, so they don't necessarily have a lot of money to get, a tailor or 2 tailors who probably are just doing it by themselves, and they have someone who helps them. Then they probably have an assistant who also helps with cleaning, and then helps with fabric sourcing, deliveries and things like that. So in terms of solo entrepreneurs who are really just starting, how do you advise that they go about putting structures in the business?
Okay, so for if you know that you're one person, one man, you're the cutter, you're the joiner, you're the fabric sourcer, first thing I would say is pace yourself. Don't take on more than you can deliver. So you know your strength in terms of, I am one person. If I can produce 2 dresses in a day, I can easily produce 2 dresses in a day. There is no reason why you should take on more than those 2 dresses in a day. So what I would say is, firstly, from customer interaction, you already know if you can make this dress and if you cannot. So if it's a case where you want to try it out, like you're not sure on production, you're not sure if your creative capacity can take you. I'm always big on telling customers no, because your integrity is very important. If you lose your integrity and you feel like you made some money, one bad customer takes away 10 other people. I always would say that. I know sometimes they say customers are always right, but not in my book. Anyways, but please don't quote me anywhere. Customers are always right. So, yeah, so I would say that the first thing first is pace yourself. Know what you can do and what you cannot do. Don't be afraid to say no. And then, in terms of placing structure in place, you need to ensure that you have your, I don't know how you would take your orders via computer or via DMs and all of that. You have a calendar in place, so you know I'm supposed to deliver this customer's outfit in 3 days. I'm supposed to deliver this customer's order in 7 days. So in between, I have 2 more days to finish. I have 2 free days in which I can. So you can take on one person. You have your calendar in place, so you are looking at it. You and your calendar in your sleep, even as much as right now I have a lot of stuff. I know my calendar in my sleep. So I know what outfit needs to go out on so. They say it's easy for me to say, oh, why haven't you emailed this person for their fitting? Because I have an idea. As an owner, you have to know what is going on in your organization. So yeah, I would say firstly, as I said, pace yourself. Say no when you need to say no. Don't be afraid to say no. And then if you are making a garment, you don't know much about it, it's okay for you to say, okay, let me take time out to try out. I used to try out a lot. Firstly, I don't I don't replicate designs, but like sometimes we have some international designs that some people would want to, they're stuck on that. So I would tell them to give me time to recreate, because at the end of the day, if you take on those designs without and you don't produce it perfectly, it is not them that would be to be blamed. It's not them that would say, you wouldn't say, oh, but I wasn't the one that designed this initially. It was designed by somebody else. They would say, why did you take on it if you know that you could not produce it? So like if you see something, please, it's even as a creative, we don't know it all. So if you're not able to test it, you don't have the time frame to test it out, please don't take the order. More orders will come, because it's better for you to say, oh, I can't do this right now, maybe some other time. They will come back, than for you to take on it, spoil it, and then they're dragging you on Instagram or they're dragging you anywhere else. So yeah, for solo designers, I would say most important structure, because structure comes from, I don't know how to say structure for a solo designer, since it's just one person. It's if you have like a bunch of staff and you know like you need to delegate and above. For the most important advice I would say for a solo designer is to pace yourself. Go at your own pace. Say your no's and your yes. Dot your I's and cross your T's. And then I believe that with that, you will know exactly what you're doing. You get what I mean?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so the next question would be, at what point did you realize that you are becoming very successful? Was there something that you got? Was it through your revenue? Of course, you see a lot of money coming in, and you're like, wow, I'm doing this, become successful. Or was it the comments that you see people say just randomly? Maybe you go to Instagram or Twitter, someone's like, oh, Mary is really killing it. So what exactly, what were the milestones that made you realize that this brand is becoming very successful?
Okay, so I would just want to use that opportunity to say the story of how we created our, I will call it our money making design in Derin Fabikun. So I'm actually wearing the design right now. So I had made an outfit for a wedding. It was a completely different look. I had completely different inspiration I had. And by the time I got to the event, The seams, I mean, we're starting up and all of that, so there was room for error. But the seams had come out, and it had become a completely different design from what I initially wore from the house. So I had two options. It was either for me to go back home and change, or for me to walk into the event like that. And I just said to myself, like, nobody knows what the original design was anyway. So let me walk into the design, let me walk into the event. And from the moment I walked into the event to when I sat down, I got like over 7 compliments and saying, I like your dress, I like your dress. I'm like, this dress, that's everything has come up. And then I sat by my friend and she said to me that, oh, Derin, I really like your dress. And I told her the truth. I'm like, babe, like the whole thread and everything has come out with that. I just formed this one just so that I could walk in. And she's like, oh, I don't know what the original design was, but like this one is the dress I want. I want to order this. And we went on to make over, before we rebranded to Derin Fabikun, we went on to make over, I would say 10,000 pieces of that mistake outfit. So that was my money maker. I call it my mistake dress and I call it signature. The signature dress, it was used for bridesmaids. We shipped it all over the world. So when guys know that I was successful, yeah, I would, for me, I have a passion for fashion. I love it. So at first, starting the business, it wasn't about the money, you know. The money was there. As I said when I started, I didn't even have an account. I made my first couple millions in somebody else's account. It was every time I would go for an event and I would see my outfit on someone and the joy it would give me, or I'm just sitting down somewhere and someone will walk up to me and say, oh, I have your dress. I made your dress. You made your dress. You made me a dress for so, 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 and so. Or I would be at an event and I would see people wear my dress. And even at seeing them, I'm shy to go say, oh, you're wearing my outfit. They would come and introduce themselves to me and say, oh, I'm wearing your outfit. I'm like, yes, you're wearing my outfit, girl. So like, it was more about that joy that I record as success. Yes, the money was fine. The money is important. Let's not say that the money is more important. But you know, I started my business off at 2021, and it was back then, not this new generation that we're in now that everybody's about money. So it was more exciting for me to see people love my clothes, for me to see people look beautiful in my pieces. Yeah, so I would say that was when I felt most successful.
Fantastic. Okay, so the next question is about facing adversity. That the made-to-measure bespoke fashion world is very, very challenging. You have issues from unreliable tailors to problematic, customers to a very concerning environment. So can you share how you've thrived all of these years in the midst of adversity?
Okay, so one thing that I've done over the year is put conditions in place to serve me as a business owner. You know, like I said, customers are not always right in my books, but in the world. Is this thing going on? Customers are always right. So what I have done, yes, we faced a lot of that. We have customers that wouldn't even come in for fitting, or customers that will send in their measurements from abroad. They don't even know what they're sending. So yeah, we've had a lot of that. But what I put in place to serve me better and serve my mind better was, we have terms and conditions. So in there, it states that firstly, we have a measurement format for you to follow. If you want to make an outfit with us, bespoke, you need to follow that measurement format. You need to send in your measurements according to what we have sent to you, not what your old tailor or anybody else has given to you. So it's very important. We have a document tagged DFC measurement format, and every inquiry it's sent to you. Then after that, we have the terms and condition, which states fully and openly, which you have to sign to. As a customer, if you are not coming in for fitting, you need to ensure that your measurement is done accurately. We would take pictures of videos recording the measurements that we have used, that you have sent. We will make videos of them to show you that you sent your bust. For example, you sent in your bust as 34. We would measure 34. We would measure your waist at 30, your hips. So when it gets to you over there, and then you say, oh, it doesn't fit me, then we would know that it's an error from the measurement that you have sent. So I put in terms and conditions to suit me, that became absolutely comfortable for me. I would always write, a fitting is advised, but in case where you cannot fit, we are not liable for any errors. However, we have put in dress allowance, extra allowance in the dresses for you to fix your dress on your own. These are for customers that are not around. And then we also put in a big clause which says that once design has started, you cannot change your design, because you have some people come in and say, oh, they realized that they thought about it or they dreamt, and all of a sudden they don't want a sweetheart neckline anymore. They want a high neck, and you have already gone ahead to cut the high neck. So now what I did is, so they don't say that we're wicked, is okay, if you want a high neck now, you pay for it. Because this is bespoke, this is something that is done by hand. I don't want us to be afraid to put these clauses in our business, thinking that we would lose customers. The only customers we would lose are the people that want to stress us. So it's best if you have everything that will work for you. I tailored my terms and conditions to my business. So you will need to tailor your terms and conditions to your business. I don't know what you can tolerate, but me, I know that after being in this business for a long time, I cannot tolerate a lot of things. Like, it's not, you will have customers say, oh, they want powder blue. You send in the pictures of powder blue, and then they later come in and say, no, they actually thought navy blue was powder blue. A story, when I first started this signature dress I'm talking about, they will come in and say, I'm a size 12. And then when they come for their fittings, this was before we put the structures in place. When they come in for their fittings, they'll say, actually, I'm a size 14, but I was hoping I could squeeze into. And then that would mean, because we didn't have anything in place to say you can't do that, to mean that we would need to adjust or make another dress to fit a size 14. And what has happened is we have lost time, we have lost money, we have lost even just the mental capacity to even function. And then we now find ourselves now behind schedule rather than moving forward. So why not just put in place size 14? If you send in your measurements as this, and we confirm that is this, we stand on our ground and say, we're not going to do this, except if you pay an extra charge of this. So if you put that and they see it and they have to sign it, trust me, they won't come playing. Once they know that you come correct, they will come correct as well. So like, as I said, you need to tag your terms and condition very much to suit you. And then in terms of tailors, because I know that tailors, God created them specially from above, you know. When he created them, he just said, just go into this world. Yeah, so one thing I've actually had really good staff, and I would say is because I was able to put structures and sanctions in place. So before you come in to work with me, while you get your employment form, you get your sanction form. It states every rule, you get the rules and regulation, and then you get the form for every rule that you break and how much you'll be owing the organization. by the time you're done breaking all the rules. So if you want to break the rules, that's your business. It's fine. Go ahead and break the rules. But at the end of the month, everything is taken out from your salary. And I know a lot of us were scared, like, oh, the tailors will leave and blah. One thing is, for me, I don't know why. I don't know where I have the backing from, but I'm never scared to lose tailors. Not because I have one playing ground where I can just go and pick them from, but the moment where you make yourself so vulnerable to them, they start to feel indispensable, and nobody is indispensable except for you. Even if you have crazy people as staff, it's best for you to take a step back, reevaluate, take a break, and then come back and reemploy than to go on with people that would stress your life on a day-to-day basis. I always say, so instead of them to stress me, I would just tell them, please leave my organization. And you find that most times they come back with the screw that's loosened up in their brain is probably back. But I don't want us to be afraid to say, oh, we'll say, oh, if this tailor leaves, where would I get, who will produce all these things for me? That's one of the reasons why I say don't overextend your capacity. So if you see that a tailor is running crazy, finish up the orders that he has, let him know that you are no longer interested in working with his craziness, and let him go. It's okay to announce that, oh, I'm taking a short break. I want to reevaluate myself and I want to reevaluate my business. In that period, you start the employment process again, and then you get these people that seem like they know exactly what you're doing. When they come in for their fitting or their test, they already know that this is what you have to go through. These are your fines. The ones that don't like structure, the ones that want to be unruly would not take the job. But the ones that are serious, which there are a lot of people that are serious about this job, would take the job as well. And it will give you a lot more peace. I hope I was clear with that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Derin. So we're going to move to the rapid fire question. So I'll just ask you a question and you give a very, very short answer. So are we ready? What did you say?
I said, I hope I can give short answers.
Okay, I know you can give short answers. Okay, so are you guys ready? Okay, so the first question is, do you need to go to fashion school to become a designer? Or if not, what skills do you think are necessary to thrive in the African fashion industry?
So firstly, you don't need to go to fashion school. I want to give you guys a story of how I learned how to sew. When I started my business, the only thing I knew how to do was to design. I loved fabric, I loved colors. I knew what would work for a fabric just by looking at it. Like, it came to me easy. But I had no knowledge of cutting or sewing or nothing. So I had this staff. She came in as I had put a signpost for an apprentice and stuff like that. She came in to learn, but she had knowledge. She knew how to sew, she knew how to cut. So she would be at the store I was working at the back of my house then. She would be there. We would have to make a skirt, or we would have to make a kaftan and all of that. And then she would cut the kaftan. I'll be telling her, no, you didn't cut your hand. You didn't do it straight. The kaftan is not meant to be pencil. It's meant to be like this. She'll say, sorry, ma. Sorry, ma. She will cut it. She'll cut it. She'll do it properly, and then she will go home. She had no knowledge that I did not know anything I was saying. So what would happen is, after she would go home, I had watched everything that she had done, and I would practice it. So I learned how to cut and sew from somebody that thought they were learning how to cut and sew from me. So that is a very big, and it was because I was interested. But as time went on, I obviously progressed myself. I did a lot of, for skills, YouTube is our friend. You can literally learn anything from the internet. You can learn how to remove a bulge from a zip. You can learn how to work with sequin fabric, how to break stones, how to create a corset, how to create patterns. Everything is out there on YouTube. I always say that it is not important for, well, in terms of growth, maybe just to have it on your CV, or maybe just to have it in your portfolio, you can go to fashion school. But I would honestly say that it is not that important, to be very honest. And another thing is, as a designer, if you don't know how to use your machine, if you don't know how to sew, I don't think it's a minus. I honestly don't think it's a minus for you not to know how to use the machine. You are a creative designer, not a tailor. You are creative in terms of you know how to put together pieces. It comes to, I know what it means to be creative, like you visualize stuff. If you know how to sew, it's a plus. I can't remember the time, even learning that, I just learned it. I hate the machine. You will never see me behind like the machine for any reason. And it's because I personally do not like it. It hurts me. So there's no way I'm going to do that for any reason. So like a lot of people feel like, oh, because I don't know how to sew, I'm not a designer, or because I don't know how to cut, I'm not a designer. We know our strengths. Everybody, as long as you're able to identify your strength, I would say it's good to have knowledge, yes. But if you don't, please don't beat yourself up about it and then discard yourself as a creative. You can learn little important things, but yeah.
Fantastic. So we move to the next question. How do you make your design stand out?
My sleep. Actually, so my niche has stayed, even with rebranding. I know my niche, and I know sometimes people will say it's not good to stay in a niche, but as I said, know what works for you as a person and as a business. I love designs that are simple and classic. Like if you check my page, you're not going to see like not to beat on anyone that creates like that, like the overly out there, corseted, everybody's wearing transparent pieces, or like all of that. Like I love simple classic cuts. And in the niche I have created, I have people that is exactly what they want to wear. So I create based off of what I particularly love. I don't know if it's me being selfish or I like, as I tailored my fashion to what works for me. Like I said, so everything I'm going to produce is going to be something that I can wear, or something that when people see it, they know that it's my design. I have people send me pictures and say, Derin, did you make this? I'll be like, oh yes, we made this. How did you know? And say it has a Derin feel. Like they can see the Derin feel in it. So either it's from the cut, or either it's from the way the sleeves fall, or whatever. There has to be something that uniquely identifies your brand, identifies you as a designer. Like when people see it, they can tell that, oh, this is you. Another thing I want to talk about is design integrity. You know, by the time you start designing, they'll send you design from Tubo, they'll send you design from Derin Fabikun, and then you'll just be making everything and just be saying, yes, I'm a designer, I'm a designer. You're not a designer, you're just a tailor and a replica. So there's nothing wrong in gaining inspiration. We all gain inspiration. Even if you look at some Gucci, and if they release their fall, you look at Louis Vuitton, like if you look at their past winter, or you will see like they have some elements that are similar. There's nothing wrong in gaining inspiration, but what happens is you need to tailor it to become something entirely different. They can see, oh, this neckline looks a little, but they cannot specifically say this dress is a dress made by a Derin Fabikun brand. So like you need to be able to build integrity for you to build your creativity. If somebody sends you, oh, make this dress for me, and it's not your design, you can say, oh, this dress is nice, but do you mind if I come up with something for you out of what you have sent to me? It's very important that for us to grow, for us to scale, for us to have our own identity as a creative designer, it's very important that you have creative integrity.
Fantastic. Okay, so I want to move to pricing. How do you advise designers to price their products?
Please price your product. I'm begging you, price your product. Because if you don't price your product, somebody else will price their product and they will take the money, and you will just be there crying. So one thing I do is, if I'm not going to be happy making that clothes based off of the person's budget. I will just tell them that nah, it doesn't work for me. So in Derin Fabikun, we have a price list from easy to the hardest. So you know that if you want a corset dress, this is your base price. If you want a dress without corset, this is your base price. You want stone, you have stones on your fabric, this is your base price. You don't have stones, this is your base price. And I'm able to price at that because I know what I bring to the table. And also based off of marginalizing the business. You know, I want to say that at the time you do your cost of production in terms of you know how much you pay the tailor, you know how much you bought the fabric, all the simple things you use like thread, put everything in your thread, your zippers, your hooks, and all of that. Then electricity cost or petrol cost, you put all of that in place, and then you now say, okay, this is my cost of production. How many percent profit do I want to make? Like, okay, in a week or in a month, I can produce 20 pieces. How many percent profit would keep me going from this month into in the next 12 months if I keep producing like that? So it's very important for you to do the numbers as you grow as a brand. I know most times we don't, when we're starting off, we don't have the money to employ an accountant or to employ a business consultant to come in and look into our business. But just if you are able to just look at it like, okay, for 30 days, if I price my outfits at so and so, and I do cost of production. I mean, cost of production is pretty easy. We almost already know how much certain things because there are things we work with anyways all the time. So like we just have to. You'd already know. Okay, can this sustain me for the 30 days? That for 1 month, can this put petrol in my generator? Can I pay my staff? Can I pay myself out of this percentage that I put out for profit and back into the business? Would you get? So I feel like that's how your pricing would come about. But don't be afraid to price yourself. Let me tell you something. If you price as you price yourself, there is somebody for you. There is somebody for you. If you decide, okay, I want to be available to all. If you want to be available to all, it means that you want to do numbers. Let's be very honest. If you don't do numbers and you want to do affordable and available to all, you're going to burn out and you're not going to make a single money. You're going to make money per time, but not enough money to scale. So don't be thinking that, oh, everybody, I need to be extremely low to make money. Those are the ones that people are buying. By the time you put everything in place, by the time you bring in an accountant, they are going to let you know that you're running at a loss rather than at a profit. So like when you decide, okay, this is the niche I want to provide to the average Nigerian, blah, 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 blah. An average Nigerian, what's the salary? Around 150K. Okay, in a month, they want to spoil themselves. Stuff like that are the things that you think about when you are putting together your price.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's move to distribution. So, the next question is: how relevant are fashion shows to the success of a fashion brand? So, for people who are starting their business and they see a lot of these fashion shows and they're like, "Oh, it's going to take my business to the next level." What do you really think about fashion shows, and how much of publicity does it really give to brands, and how should brands take advantage of opportunities like that?
I would say like fashion shows are actually nice to do and to be in. But what happens with a lot of fashion shows in Nigeria is we believe that the pieces need to be couture to be on the runway. Most of the pieces on the runway are revamped before you produce for actual sale. I would say when I first started, I did a few competitions and runways, but I wouldn't say I'm maybe a bit of publicity, but I wouldn't say like that was where the money actually came in from, you know. But as a brand now that stands on its own, I would run fashion shows on my own rather than looking for where to. If the opportunity comes to you, yes, by all means, take it. But most of the things they're looking for on the runway, they want elevated designs, and then you feel like you need to go and produce like things that do not really fit your aesthetics and stuff like that. But I wouldn't also discard fashion shows, because I know fashion shows has helped a lot of Nigerian brands go international. So I I wouldn't completely discard it, but I would say that even when you're going to do a fashion show, or even if you want to do a fashion show so badly, don't veer from your aesthetics, trying to thinking that you need to please the crowd in terms of exaggeration, if you get what I mean. Is it clear?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So, the next question is retailing. So, for brands who want to put their clothes in stores, what do you really think about it? Like Grey Velvet and all those retail stores, how helpful is it to scale up?
So yeah, if you're not able to own your own fashion house, I would say that stores retailing with people, retailing with existing retailers helps a lot. And in it also, like everything has gone digital now. Not everything has to be in store. I would say, okay, this one is more, it caters more to like ready to wear and easy pieces, because there's, imagine just going to go and stock one wedding dress or one fully beaded corset dress in gray velvet. Yeah, I don't know that you're gonna make your money back. But yeah, for that, I think yes, it's very, it controls production as well, because when you have a store, you have to keep producing. So when you're producing, you don't know which is going to be the best seller, and at the end of the day, that's when you see people do sales, sales, sale. Almost every 2 months, they're running a sale, right? Because they're trying to clear out. So if you have an existing retailer, they pick what they feel people would buy, and they already kind of know the market. So it's easy for them to take on your stock and may help you make your money. However, I don't know, you have to make sure that the percentage that they are collecting works for you and works for your brand. Some of these people want to collect even way more than what you would earn at the end of the day. And then there are also brands where you don't have to produce on ground. They just let you know when you have an order. Like, so it's online, but like they are retailing for you. And there's also that option. You can always explore options. The answers you will get would either be yes or no, we don't do this. So why not just explore every option? But I know brands like Ozina.com, she doesn't have a physical store, but like when she sees a bestseller, she produces the bestseller and then buys it off all at once and sell it to her customers. So like that's a good way to start with, for brands like that. And yeah, Grey Velvet, I feel like I've had talks about their production before and also their percentage. I don't really know if it works for new brands, but yeah, I would say explore all options.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, in terms, two more questions. So the second to the last is about ready to wear and made to measure. So in terms of small brands starting out, um, what would you advise in terms of scaling up? Would you advise that they focus on ready to wear in this economy, or focus on made to measure, or how should they go about the two? If that's their,
Hmm.
yeah.
I wouldn't say pick either or. I would say pick what best suits you as a designer. So like if you find that you like to cater for your love is easy wears, like you want people to just be able to pick up their dresses and go from your brand, by all means go do that. I have a ready to wear brand, and I found that I wasn't extremely fulfilled in production, because even as much as I tried to make the dresses easy, I would see that I was always adding one thing or the other, one other element, and then it becomes so elevated. And for the price point, it wasn't making any sense. So I had to go back into my bespoke and custom, because that is where I would say that's where my heart is, and that is what I love, So I would not say pick one of the two. I would say pick the one that works for you. And if there's a way that you can do both. But to be honest, I always say if you're going to do luxury and affordable, I feel like you should separate them. Because what happens is that people cannot separate your cheap pieces from your expensive pieces. So if you start a brand off and you start sewing at 15K, and then by the time you make a more elevated piece and you price it at 70K, people that you have, the fan that you have gathered, are not going to be able to understand why this is the price. Do you get? So I always say it's okay to separate your brands, like tell them, oh, we're starting a new line. We want to cater to more elegant. We want to cater to your more structured needs, or just tag it, name it in whatever way you want to name it to sell it, and then do your second luxury brand. It's always easier to accumulate new followers and new customers that way, because the ones that have seen your 15K, trust me, they want you to remain 15K. They will not understand, and they are not the target audience for the 70K. Same as your 70K customers, they will not understand some 15K designs because they feel like everybody would have it. I've had customers ask me, how many pieces did you make? Because there's that. They don't want that. They like exclusivity. And to be honest, that's what I like, because I always say if you have 10 customers that are paying you 1.5, it's better than 1,000 customers that are paying you, 20K or 25K, because those people, they're stressful. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm just being honest here. But like, at the end of the day, please, what works for you? What works for you as a person? There are so many brands like Zefanako. I love her, Kiki. She has created a niche for the affordable brand, and that's because she does numbers. That's another thing. If you're going to do affordability, you have to be able to do numbers, because that's where your money comes in.
Fantastic. So the very last question, it's 2 in 1. So the question is there any successful startup or fashion business anywhere in the world that you've seen that you tell yourself, oh my God, I wish I started this brand? Maybe it's a fashion tech startup, or just any fashion innovative idea that you just feel, oh, I like this and I wish I did something like this, or I'm the owner of a company.
Does it have to be fashion in terms of like producing? What the one thing I wish I own, or I own the rights to, or started, was is fabric production. It's a fabric production company, because I know that I have the eye, and I can target or figure out what is in season. I know that if you need to produce something like unique in terms of fabric, I know that I could work with that. So like when I see a lot of people are embracing producing their own fabrics now. So I wish I started that a long time ago. But a company that I really love in terms of ready to wear, I would say I love DVF. I love how she plays with fabrics, and I love how easy and simple her pieces are, but people genuinely love to wear them. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so one more question. So if you would do this again, how would you start in this, knowing fully well that this is a social media, digital environment? What would you do differently if you have to start again? All those posts that will say, take 2 months to rest and then come back big. So what would you do differently?
One thing, I did take a break. I took a 2 year break. Actually, I did take a break because, like I said, there's something called mental exhaustion. Like you wouldn't know when it creeps up on you as a creative. But if I could do anything again from the beginning, I would put in structure. I would get help, and I would take breaks. You know, I would take breaks. Breaks are very important. Find time, even if you don't travel, even if you don't do anything, you just sit on your bed and watch TV. Just do it. Like these days, nothing, even people around me, staff, customers, whatever it is, when I say I am not working today, it means I am not working today. And I can only do that because I have people that are doing the work behind my back, behind the scenes, yeah? So it's very important that if I could do it all over from beginning, I would put structure in place, and I would not be afraid to price myself to the point where I wanted to be. Do you get? So yes, those are the two things I would do different.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Derin, for this fantastic conversation. Thank you so much. So please, a round of applause again for Derin. She's been fantastic. You know, when I said I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions, and you said you won't be able to give short answers. Thank you so much for that. I know the audience really enjoyed themselves. So we're going to take questions, and let me see. So we have a bit of time after the question and answer. We're going to take some pictures with Derin, selfies, and some things. Yeah, and then we're going to move on to a game. You know, we're going to play a networking game. But then, how many people have questions here? Let me see. Okay, so I think that we can do 5 questions. Okay. So this is how we're going to do it. Please keep your questions short. Please don't ramble. Okay.
Yes, I do. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and you look very beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so my questions are: we understand that women have different shapes. Like, so how do you convince a woman that has a square shape and she wants something, a curvy dress? She saw that picture, and people do well with people want
Different.
style doesn't suit them. Then secondly, you cope with competitors, like not being under pressure.
Okay. Okay, so from let me start from the second question. From inception, even when I had no money or I had no customers, I was never interested in in what the competition was doing. Because by the time you focus yourself, you focus your mind on what someone else is doing better than you wouldn't do it. So now competition is good because you can use that to push yourself. But when you start using competition to beat yourself up and feel like you're not doing enough, then that is wrong. I would say focus on yourself, focus on what you produce, make yourself 100% better for yourself. That way, whatever the next person is doing wouldn't really bother you. Then, in terms of the first question, I would politely say, I do it. I would say, oh, like this dress she has a curvier shape. Do you want us to put extra padding on your hip, or um, would you like for us to go with something else? It's very important that you say, because a lot of times people see things and they just assume that it will suit them correctly. So you need to let them know, which is one of the reasons why I say don't just replicate. So you can tell her, oh, this dress looks really nice on this lady because she has figure 8. So for you, it wouldn't look exactly the way, or we could do a drape rather than just have it exactly what it is. Like, just find a way to be creative. And if the customer is hell bent, like I said, please let them go, because it's your problem at the end of the day. She will forget that her body is like this. It becomes your problem. So please take it easy on yourself in terms of that. And if the customer is not going to let you be creative, then there's no point.
Okay, thank you, Derin, for an amazing session.
Thank you.
My name is Amidu.
Hi.
And though I'm not a fashion designer, I
Okay.
don't operate in the fashion space, but I'm also a creative. I do green furniture and stuff like that. So, taking it from the sustainability point of view, the fashion space is responsible for about 5% of greenhouse gas emissions. So a lot of brands are, they are remodeling their structure to be eco-friendly
Yes.
by introducing sustainable fashion. So, in your brand, how do you, infuse sustainability into what you do? Is it that you retouch or you reuse some of your waste and all of those things to minimize the carbon footprint? Because as much as we want to look good, we can only do that if there's a
Yeah.
planet.
I actually really appreciate your question because I am doing a research on this. I recently had a meeting with a young man who is going to help me. We reevaluated and found that, to be honest, we're not extremely eco-friendly in Derin Fabikun. So I went for a networking event recently and I met a guy through my friend who said that is his work. So yeah, we're setting up a meeting to figure out how and what we can do. A lot of Nigerian brands that are saying they're eco-friendly, they're just doing it to entice the international market. A lot of them are not. But yeah, there are actually people that can help. Like I said, we don't know everything, So there are people that can help you with that. And I know I'm working with someone on that right now. But yeah, it's very important as much as possible if you can infuse an eco-friendly brand to help the nation, to help the world. It's very go green. Pardon? Oh, amazing! Yes, nice. So we'll see now.
Hi, good evening. Please, I wanted to ask for a startup. How would you recommend um putting your brand out? Like you're just starting, you don't have anybody, you don't know anybody in that particular field. How would you recommend networking to people to buy from you, especially if your circle is not your target audience?
Oh, I
Hi,
can answer.
Derin.
Would you remember?
Hi, Derin. Thanks so much for coming here. I really appreciate your band. Like, I'm a huge fan since day one. Okay, so let me make the question, Vivian. You gorgeous in person, more than Instagram, whatever. Okay, so quick one. How do you advise solo brands that are just starting up to okay, basically we're in social media era and everybody say like I have to be out there to do this. There's this part we call trenches. When you're in the trenches and you feel like is the old place that you get more customers or maybe target audience that would pay more for your brand in Lekki, blah blah blah, like that. We startup think that once in a while, maybe all the time, maybe. So and you feel like maybe you could partner with social media influencers. And how do you think you advise us to manage the I don't know how to put it the business with them in a way that it will not run our pockets dry. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like I want to partner with an influencer to make my brand more open, so that I can meet my target audience and in a way that it will not run my pocket at the same time. I'm a startup, not like I have a full access to everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think I should answer because we'll forget. Yeah, I will forget. Okay, so for you, how do you put your brand out there? I would say like you make use of social media. So because when you say you don't have anyone, you have people around you that can help you. The most important thing is to put your clothes. If you're talking about clothes, you put what you do out there. There is nobody that if you don't put what you do out there, nobody will see it. So you take pictures, you dress up, you don't have anywhere to go. Go somewhere, sit down, have your friend make videos of you, post it out there. Post, 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 post. And there is also the questions tie into each other, making use of influencers and all of that. But you need to know that um if you don't have the money to, of course, a lot of them are very expensive. I would say that you keep posting, You keep posting, you reach out to people. Don't be afraid to reach out to anybody. If you see a celebrity or a semi-celebrity that works with that you feel like, oh, I would like to dress this person, don't be afraid to reach out. I'll tell you that I reached out to 5 different people when I was starting them to find out if we could dress them. 2 of them said yes. The rest of them said no. And yeah, for free. When I first started, they said no. And even we didn't take long for us to blow. They started reaching out to us, wanting us to style them. So if they say no, it just means look for the next person. You're not giving up. Look for the next person. One person will say yes. And all you just need to do is just have the pictures, and keep bettering your designs. As long as your designs are nice, you just need that one design that will take you out there. As long as your designs are nice, it would come. Then for you influencers, another thing people think is, oh, this person has 1 million followers, her brand is going to transcend for my brand. You need to follow influencers, or you need to work with influencers that their target is your target, because I've had situations. I don't use influencers, but I know people that are in the industries. I've had people that would wear my clothes, and then by the time her people come, they find that my prices are too high for them. So it doesn't translate into sales, although it was not even free in the first place. But that's what always happens. So you need to know that, okay, this influencer or if you see somebody that all her dresses are short, like all her fans, they love her short dresses, you will now come and give her a maxi adire. She's not going to translate to anything for you, no matter how the effort she puts into the production of the pic videos or whatever. So you need to find people that match your aesthetics in terms of, okay, this is what I do. Who else translates very well? You check that when she wears short and t-shirt, she still gets her 10,000 followers, 10,000 likes. When she wears her skin, like, so you will know, like, okay, this is the one that works best for me, and that's the person you will work with. It doesn't matter if they have millions of followers, as long as they transcend to you. Because I know people that have worked with people for millions, and it didn't even bring in 100,000 back into their business. Do you get what I mean? Okay.
Hi, Derin.
Hello.
My name is Shay.
Hi, Shay.
So I have 2 questions. I'm just going to.
Try and put them into one.
I
Or
will.
we can talk about it after.
Okay, then. Great. Did you always have a business? Did you have a business plan starting out? If yes, could you share the highlights?
I had absolutely nothing when I was starting. The only thing I knew was I wrote a letter to my dad telling him that if he buys me an industrial machine, gives me industrial iron, weaving machine, buys me scissors, I'll never come back to ask him for money again. So yeah, and to be honest, I never did. I never ever did. I never asked him for money after he set me up the first time. So what I want to say is that going into business, that's part of the things I wouldn't do now. Yeah, but I want to say that it's not enough for you to hold back on, not on starting. Business plan is to look at, project your future, and if you want to bring in investors and you want to appear sellable. But for you to even be sellable, you even need to try to see if you can even sell first and foremost. And as a creative, because we are working with our hands, you would need a business plan eventually to see your projections, but it's not enough reason for you to not start. Yeah.
Hi, Derek. Okay, hi.
Hello.
Thank you for an amazing session. My question is this: as a creative, yeah, how do you know? We always have this thing that what I created is not really cool as much as what is in my head. So how did it become a business? Was it that somebody saw this and said, "Wow, this is fire. Can you make one for me?"
Okay, so firstly, as a creative, the first thing that you need to do, and the first thing that you need to have, is believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself so bad or so good that anybody else coming in is just a bonus. Yes, the one thing that plagues us as creatives is our mind, making us feel like, oh, this is not good enough, we can do better and we can do. But I feel like if you see a piece you're able to translate it into a sketch, and then you're able to produce it, just let it go. Don't start when your mind says, you should have added this, you should have added that. Just leave it. That is because as a creative, it keeps, like I said, when with my ready to wear brand, I wasn't able to keep it as easy fashion because one thing will come to my head, next thing it has gone from simple to extra. Do you get? It would keep coming. So you just need to focus. Okay, this dress, I'm trying to make it a simple dress, or this dress, I'm trying to make it an elegant. So, and once you just do that, just leave it. Let your believe in yourself enough that, okay, this is good enough, and then translate whatever idea is coming to your head into the next design. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Omi. I'm a second year fashion design student. And my question is, like, when you're starting a brand and you have a certain design, but you want to price it at a certain price, and the customer argues about the price because they don't believe that it should be priced that high, how do you like defend your work?
You don't defend your work to anybody. You can't defend your work to anybody. Just let them go. And I'm sorry, I know that yes, we need the money, we're starting off and all of that. But I put it to you that if you take it down for that person, by the time you even launch and you become who you are, that person will want to continue to produce with you at that low price. And you're going to be upset making it. And because we are working with our heart and like we love what we do, if we're not happy producing it, I feel like it translates into the dress. That's how the dress will not be looking like this somehow on the person's clothes, because we're not really happy making it. So don't defend you know your worth, and you know how you came about that price. But as long as you look at it and be like, sometimes you see some things and you be like, you too, you like have the fear of God and all of that in you. And then by the time you put that once you put it, that's it. Don't listen to anybody. Just tell them, oh, I'm so sorry, that's my price. Or if you look and you can take out 15 naira, like, okay, we can do it for you at 199 instead of 2,000. Do you get? So they will not say that you're wicked.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
My question is with regards to the fact that you talked about your brand having an identity in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm not in fashion, but I hope to work, with different people. I'm in film, so I want to work with different people. Okay. And when you're transitioning from just you doing the work and you're trying to build a team, how do you get everybody to be to have the same mindset as you, so that you have consistency in that identity? Because you said that there are times when you're not around because you have to take a break. So everybody else is working to create your brand. So how is it that everybody has that same vision that you have?
Okay, so one thing I would never do is you can't come into my organization without an orientation. You can't come into my organization without training. So it's not a situation where you tell me I'm good at what I do from where I'm coming from and you just enter and I just leave you. No. So you're good at what you do, where you're coming from. You don't know what I do here. You have knowledge of it, but you're not vast in how I do things. So I train. Very importantly, you go through training, you go through orientation, you have because it's very routine anyways, what we do. Produce, sew, fabric, cut, sew, fit is very routine. So you go through that process, and once you see that the person is good enough, the person becomes a part of your team. Now, when I employ people, we have 3 months of probation. This is excluding the training. We do 2 weeks first, depending on the role, and then we have 3 months. And once I see that you did not cut it for the probation, we let you go. We're very sorry about that. So in terms of when you see somebody that has the same mindset as you, and even if they come with the initial, oh, I know what I'm doing, because creative people, they lie a lot. Do you get? Some of them cannot even handle pressure, even though they will say that they can handle. But it's something that would tell eventually. But if it's a situation where the person can learn, I would say let them learn on you, but just give them the time frame to learn. You're not doing a charity. You're not owning. It's not a charity case where they'll be begging you, please just give me more time, more time. You have your probationary period, and in that period, you're able to learn, you're able to teach, give them things. Even till now, if my customer care person doesn't respond properly, I'll send her a link to watch on YouTube on how to respond to customers. This is how you do. And we test it with each other. Like, okay, talk to me as a customer. This is even down the line of working, because anybody can get tired and slip off. Okay, I understand. I'm a very rude customer. How are you going to attend to me? So like, it's constant training. Don't be afraid to bring people in to train them. Don't be afraid to tell them to go out. When you eventually get really big and all of that, you would invest money in training the right people, like going outside to train them and all of that. But like, when building a team, I would say if they have the same zeal as you do, you would be able to tell, because they are invested in you. They want to see you grow, and those are the people that you invest back in.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for sharing your story. I think my question is with respect to your mistake signature, in terms of how were you able to deliver, because it felt very sudden around the period between when a lot of people said they loved what you were wearing and you delivering. And I just want to ask, with respect to you rebranding, did you outsource it, or was it something you did all by yourself? And as a creative, I know as a fashion designer, how do you get to pay yourself? Because most of what you do is, a service, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. So that first question, can you repeat it?
So it's with respect to your mistake
Mistake.
signature.
Okay.
So you said a lot of people were requesting for that same. So it felt like there was a lot of demand. How were you able to deliver? Like,
so it
as a
wasn't
small
like
business?
Okay, it wasn't like as soon as the mistake, as soon as we launched it, then 10,000. So it became our signature. So it became it was used for bridesmaids. It was used for different things. So like, obviously, as the orders were increasing, we were expanding. It caused us to expand. So I now see like, okay, you need more than one tailor now. Okay, get two more. By the time you get two more tailors, you are still able to produce and you're still able to pay because of the demand. The demand became high, so they had to be, we had to grow in terms of numbers. So yeah, that's how we were able to meet up. But it wasn't like it was over a period of time. Then the second one was, I'm so sorry.
No problem. The second one is with you rebranding. So did you do it by yourself? Did you outsource? And you as a creative, how do you get to pay yourself? Because most of what you do is a service.
Okay. So rebranding, yes, it came all from me. I needed to take the break, and the break was it came out of exhaustion, like I said. And because I am the creative, I am the one that knows exactly, I'm the one that creates my designs, I'm the one. So when I decided to come back, I took my time. I worked with a consultant. I dotted my I's and my T's. I knew exactly how I wanted to operate this time. I knew that I wanted to be very limited to people. We work strictly on appointments. Like, you can't just walk in, and appointment does not mean that we're going to take your order. So like, I've done it in such a way that it suits me mentally so I can function. Yeah, and yeah, it was all me. Nothing is outsourced. We produce locally here. Yeah, to the largest extent, we produce locally here. And how do I pay myself? Because of profits, because of how much we're making, I have a realistic amount, but my salary is very important because the other people in my organization, they are earning money as well. So I cannot now, as an owner, not earn money, but it's based off of revenue and it's based off of profit. So like, I'm not now taking the cost of production and all the profit as salary. Do you get? Because my company can afford to pay me very well. I'm being paid. I pay myself very well. Do you get what I mean? So just look at what it is. Look at how much you want. Look at realistically, how much do I sell? How much do I make in a month? How much do I pay my tailors? And then from that, you will now pay yourself. If you are starting off, I would say it's okay not to pay yourself for the first few months, maybe first 3 months, but essentially, please pay yourself. So you're not even eating into the company money. Do you get? Very essential that you pay yourself, no matter how small. Just take it out, because once you start that, it would continue to. You would learn it. It will become your. It will become your way of life. Yeah. Next question.
Hello.
Hi.
It's nice seeing you.
I
in
love your
person.
dress.
Thank you. So I'm Phoebe. I'm a fashion designer.
Okay.
So as a brand that just growing and you have been invited for a fashion show. So how do you make the most of it? Like apart from showing on the wrong way, how do you make sure you have enough visibility and sell out?
As a what?
Like a fashion brand that is starting out.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You're invited for a fashion show,
Yes.
and you want to know what to do with the after the fashion show.
Yes.
I would say that you create a lot of buzz around the fashion show. Most times, this is what I was saying about fashion shows. Sometimes the pieces are not sellable because you have exaggerated them to the point. So I'll say, even though you exaggerate them, you have the version that can be sold. So maybe with as the buzz is going on, you create like a pop-up sale. So after the show, or pieces from the runway from Phoebe 2003 FL collection, FW collection would be available for sale at so and so place, or order. You do a photo shoot for yourself with the revised version of the designs. Then you start to sell. Do you get? And take as much pictures, take as much videos, create as much reels with all of that, and just keep recycling the pictures and the videos. You're welcome.
Hi, Derin. Good evening.
Hello. Hi,
Thank you for your time. Yeah, I'm Sola. So please, as a creative, yeah, I'm actually not in fashion line. I'm in beauty line. But please, there are sometimes that you just get out of ideas, like you run out of ideas and you get so tired. And how do you ensure you keep evolving? Like, okay, yeah, I'm building this brand. I have a vision, but I'm just out of ideas. How do I keep, evolving, keep being unique in my field?
It's okay to not have ideas at the time. And I would say that most times, like for me, when I have a creative block, it's because I've put too much pressure on myself. So one thing I've learned is how to take a step back and enjoy myself. I love enjoyment. Like I know how to, even if it means me just being at home and watching TV, and I would take that time out. Oh, Derin, there's so much pressure, Mark. You need to come up with this. You need to. Sometimes even when I have consultations, I may not have an idea. I would take a break from them. I will lock myself up, do the things I love, and after that, I realized that the ideas come back flowing. So it's okay to take a break. And when you don't have ideas at the moment, don't beat yourself up about it. Just figure out, you will know why. It's probably because, oh, you're looking at the next person, or you're saying, oh God, I need money, or you're saying, oh, well, how can I do this? How can I do that? Take a step back from all of that and then figure out why you are in where you are in the first place. Evolving does not mean that is now. Do you get? Once your mental state is not capable of anything, there's not, no matter what, you won't be able to move forward. So I will always say, please take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. Do what you love. Take yourself on a date. Write, journal to yourself, journal to the Holy Spirit. Like, I don't know what you do and all of that. Like, just love upon yourself, and then it will come back to you, on the next steps. If you get what I mean. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah. Good evening, Derin. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eromonsele. I'm a blogger. Yeah, so I'll be coming from the social media angle right now. As a business, as a brand that has shown in multiple, because I did some research before getting here. So you've appeared a lot on a lot of publications, social media sites, And we know that, unfortunately, the social media space, especially X, which is formerly Twitter, is a very, very sensitive, and we like to play around a lot and banter. So, as a brand, do you have a, should I say, damage strategy? Because we've seen a lot of things that surround fashion brands, all this what I ordered versus what I got. And sometimes it's not even from the fault of the designer, like you've said. So now my question is, your brand as it stands today, do you have like a damage group, maybe a team of influencers, social media marketers, brand strategists that attack these things head on? Because we've seen people that call out brands, and the brands actually offer public statements and issues on the transactions, and they are very transparent. So my question is, does your brand have that?
So you actually answered the question, transparency. So I'm not afraid of anybody. Nobody can hold me to ransom, no matter what or where you are or what you say, because every clause is already stated in our terms and conditions. And once it appears in that, once the error is not from us. Now, I'm not saying that we're perfect and some errors are not from us. So if it's our error, we do our best to correct it, and we own up. You have to own up if the error is from you. But if you notice that somebody is trying to take advantage of you, that is why you have those things in place with their signature in it. So, you said this dress was going to be blue. Why do I have a blue dress? I wanted pink. You have your trail of messages. You have your trail of measurements. You have videos. You have videos of the dress before it left your store. I'm talking about if your customer is abroad, because most times the craziness comes from people that are not here. You have videos before I left your store. This is how we left my store. This is the measurement. This is everything. You have it. You've dotted your I's and your T's. So anybody that wants to come and say this is what they did, we back it up easily.
Hi, Derin.
Hello.
Hi, Derin. Thanks. You've been very patient. So I'm curious about how you handle copyright infringement. Do you like trademark your designs? Because it's very easy for another brand to just like make exactly what you've made and then you're selling it. And then you even see like bigger celebrities wearing your clothes. So I'm curious about how you handle that.
I would always feel like it's going to be a smaller brand stealing from us rather than a bigger brand stealing from us. Honestly, I'm not fazed by it anymore, because even if you copyright your design, there's some things that you cannot even copyright. There's some laws that there's nothing you want to do about it. Like, you will just be in court or just stress yourself for no reason. So most times when people steal our designs and try to sell it off, I do a petty thing, and I learned it from someone. I do giveaways with their designs, their staple designs. It's very petty. Please, nobody should follow me. But like sometimes you need to just, if you go low, we go lower. But most times I don't pay it attention. I mean, you're a big brand. Once you are big, you have people in your space. So if you reach out to the person, the designer, personally and say, this is something, you're ripping off my creative, you're ripping off my creativity. I don't think that's very fair. And if the person comes back to you with, I'm sorry, blah, 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 then be civil. But if the person is irrational, you leave them and let them be and go on. Because one thing I always say is, nobody can have your brain. Nobody can have your ideas as best as you have it. So even if they create it, there will always be something left. And people would always know where the original came from. So see it as you are their boss. And without you, they cannot make money, basically.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
My name is Yemi.
Hi.
So have you ever been afraid of going out of business?
then what's the future of fashion business? Like somebody like me that maybe was head of marketing department, I decided to go into fashion thing, and people were like, "Yeah, me, are you sure this is what you want to leave this for?" Then eventually you go into the business and you're now scared like, are your children interested in what you do, or once you leave the fashion thing, that's the end of your business?
So, have I ever been scared of going out of business? I went out of business because I did not want to go out of business. I don't know if that makes sense. When I realized that I couldn't go any further than where I was at that point, I decided to take a step back, take a break. It hurt. It really hurt me at the time, but I knew that it was for the best. So, being back in business now, I am not afraid of being out of business in terms of closing up completely, because I feel like if I close up completely, it means I'm closing up to do something else that I love, and I believe so much in the power of God. I believe so much in the power that if God has given me or you this creativity in your hands, I feel like He wouldn't want you to just waste it. And yeah, I know we want to create a sustainable brand, so you're worried that your children, I would say, like, you will meet someone that you can train to become the next you, and the person does not have to be your child. The most important thing is understanding that the legacy stays put, and when you see it, even if they decide to rebrand and all of that, you still know that this is you. And it may not come. I know. I like this question that you asked. I've thought about it as well, and I don't even have children yet. I'm like, oh, what if none of my children likes anything in fashion? Will I be okay? I don't know that I'll be okay, to be honest, but I feel like there would always be something and someone. I feel like everyone you meet on this journey is a part of your journey. It may not necessarily be that the person is born from you, but there would be someone that would sustain and take your brand to longevity, as long as you are willing to help and train them. But if it's as much as possible, be forcing your children. That's my plan. I'm serious. I don't know what I think I'll be heartbroken if none of my children love fashion as much as I do. I've thought about it before. I wouldn't even lie about that. So are we done?
I think we're done. A round of applause for Derin. Thank you so much, Derin. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end of a question and answer, and I think that would just take itself.